Hello. Oh, you stupid thing. Hello and welcome to Thursday Night Live. I'm your host, Dr. Rita Louise, and thank you all for tuning into the show. And thank you all you guys who show up early, and it just, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So tonight, our topic is, what the heck is going on? I mean, whether you watch the news or not, this world just seems like totally beyond crazy. I mean, there's all the infighting going on and the political stuff going on, and the stuff about health going on. But this week, actually, I'm going to back this up. And this ongoing barrage of activity of something crazy happening has actually been going on for quite a while. And at this point in time, I'm going to say this was well over a year ago. I remember we were in this phase where there were like 2 or 3 big news stories that came out every day, and your head is spinning because it's like, is that important? Is that important? Do I need to pay attention to this? And there was just too much information. And I remember going to the gym one morning, and as I was walking past this one screen that had the news on, they were talking about a volcano that went off in Iceland. Now, had that been 5 years ago, 10 years ago, that news story would have sat on the air for several days, maybe a week, because there really wasn't all that much happening. And I thought it was interesting because it was just kind of like a sideline mention. It's like, oh, at a volcano. And we're back in that kind of cycle where it is non-stop crazy happening. So when I got up this morning and I had some show on my phone, I don't know it. Anyway, they were sitting there talking about this airplane that it was Air India, and it crashed in India, and there are 290 people that died. That was this morning. They don't have the black box yet, so they don't know why the plane crashed, but apparently it took off, got about 600 feet in the air, and then just came barreling down. Now, the miracle of this whole story is there was a survivor. One person survived this flight. They haven't really released details like, are they in really bad shape or whatever, but there's a survivor. So that, can you imagine being that person and after all of this saying, yeah, I survived that airline flight? Ooh, kind of weird. Okay, so that was the first thing this morning. And then a little bit later, I'm in my car, and they're sitting there talking about that Israel might strike Iran over their nuclear weapon strategy, because, Israel and the United States doesn't want Iran to have nuclear weapons. And they're talking about that this is a very serious thing and needs to be looked at, not necessarily as an idle threat, which is always scary when they're like, yeah, this is a serious thing. It's like, well, who made it be serious? But that is a conversation for another show. But to support that and their level of alert that the U.S. is on, that American families and people in the embassies are being told that they should leave the country or leave the area so that they would be safe. So that's not good when, you know, people are having to do stuff like that. Okay, so that's story number 2. Then I found out today, thanks to Master Player Radio, that there were huge internet outages going on all day today. So sites like Spotify went down, Google went down, and he reached out to me because apparently StreamYard, which is where the program that this show broadcasts from, was down, which was like, oh, maybe I won't have a show tonight, which means I don't have to put makeup on, which would have been very cool. But we're back up and I'm here and we're hanging out, but it made my story list. You know, and stuff like that happens, but usually it's like one program will go down, but this was apparently multiple that went down. Now, it could have been a server issue. You know, I didn't really dig into this story, you know, but if they're all hosted by like Amazon Web Services and Amazon Web Services went down, then anything they're hosting would go down as well. Then, you know, this was this week. This wasn't today. There was a mass shooting in Austria, and 11 people are dead, which included the shooter. You know, and I heard that story, and I'm thinking to myself, I thought we only had mass school shootings, but it's not even just our country. It's happening overseas as well. You know, and then the big story is, you know, the protests that started in LA, the mostly peaceful cars on fire protests that started in LA have now spread around the country. They're in Texas, they're in Colorado, they're in Washington, they're in New York City. And the expectation is that the protests are going to be even more and even worse over the weekend. It is armed forces. It's the anniversary of the Army or something like that, but it's also Trump's birthday. And so they're calling it No King's Day. And the expectation by law enforcement is that the protests are going to be even more intense than they have been, you know, for the past week. So this is like everything that's going on in less than a week. Less than a week. And it's not even like sort of sane stuff. It's crazy making. What are we doing as human beings? What are we doing? Why are we manifesting this kind of behavior? What value is it in any of this? I mean, okay, granted, the plane crash, you know, isn't a human behavior thing on the surface, but it really kind of is a human behavior thing. I don't know about you, but I don't really recall very many planes crashing throughout my entire life. I mean, there have been a couple, but not very many. And so far, what, this year, in less than 12 months, you know, so we've had 3 or 4 that have come down, and it just seems unheard of. You know, so there's the whole conspiracy theory part, you know, they could be sabotaged and this could be this whole political thing, or the people that are putting the planes together, the people that are doing the inspections, because planes have to get inspected all of the time, and they get inspected every I want to say 100 miles, but it's not. They get inspected a lot. How's that? That they're not doing their job, because if this is a mechanical failure issue, you know, as an example, the Boeing plane that the door came off. I mean, it's, you know, it's obviously a operator error. They weren't doing their job kind of issue, but it also takes you. Okay, so I don't know. Are you guys still seeing me here? Oh, it doesn't say end stream. Okay, so I'm just going to keep talking. Okay, and okay, you're seeing me. Okay, good. Okay, so we just had a little glitch in that. Hey, Miss Jeannie. Um, yeah, because it just dumped me again, but it let me back in, and the stream is still happening, so I'm good. I'm good. But what I was saying is, I don't understand humanity. I don't understand why all of this crazy is going on at all. And so if you're looking to me for answers, I don't have any. I just look at it with utter shock on a lot of levels. You could go totally conspiratorial on it and be like, well, it's because of this and this and this. But even if what they're saying, like, these are the reasons why it's happening, why are we doing that? Why? It's just, I got nothing. I got nothing other than to sit and watch. But there's a but to this. With all the things that have been happening, and this is the point to this whole opening, with all of these things going on, with the craziness happening, and there's what's going on in the world around us, but I think people are also experiencing this craziness in their own lives. It's like, well, I have this plan to go do this thing, but now this came up and I have to drop my plans and go do this other thing, or you're ready to go do this other thing and it just blows up in your face. I mean, it's just been, you haven't had time. No one really has had time to just rest and recover and regroup, because by the time you get that little bit of like, oh, I'm feeling comfortable, there's some other crisis going on. Not just on a global level, but on a personal level. When trying to think of how to phrase this. So when there is so much stuff going on the planet, it affects all of us, whether you watch the news or not, whether you talk to anybody, whether you know anything that's going on. Because as human beings, we're designed to send, receive, and process information from the world around us. So if everybody's uptight, or there's a large number of people that have anxiety, then it can spread around the planet like wildfire. And I've talked about this before, but I'm going to bring this up again. When COVID was going on, and, everybody was worrying about, am I going to die? And do I have toilet paper? And all of those important things. The level of fear on the planet was overwhelming. And my belief was, my job was to just breathe and make it through all of this without going into a panic. It's not that bad right now, and it's not fear. I don't feel like people are sitting in fear right now, but I feel like people are sitting in this place of anxiety, that they're sitting in a place of cognitive dissonance because they don't know what the heck is going on, or who to believe, or what they're supposed to do in the meantime, and not knowing or feeling like you have control over what's going on, or you don't feel like you have a clear path forward because it's kind of a mystery, leaves you feeling uncomfortable. And I feel like that uncertainty, that discomfort, that underlying angst of waiting for something else weird to happen, another volcano, is affecting everyone. And so one of the ways that you can sit there and kind of detach from what's going on is to spend a little time, being mindful of yourself, and then perhaps doing a little bit of meditation. And so we're going to talk about both briefly. So if you are trying to be mindful of yourself, you can ask yourself questions such as, what's going on with me right now? Am I okay? Do I have a place to live? Is my family okay? And just check in to make sure that the anxiety you're feeling or the stress you're feeling or the fear you're feeling or whatever the uncomfortable emotion you might be receiving is yours or not. Because many times it's not really yours and you're just picking it up from the group consciousness on the planet. So that's one thing. But the other thing is to, spend some time in some kind of a mindful practice. And so to conclude this, I just want to do a very, very, very quick meditation with all of you. And so it will be part of this episode. So if you want to come back to it, you can. And I would love for all of you to just stop typing and close your eyes. And I'm going to close my eyes too. I've had people go, you need to open your eyes. It's like, sorry, I can't. But I need for you to close your eyes and just take a nice deep breath in. Because breathing activates the vagus nervous system, especially slow breathing, which activates our relaxation response. So take a nice deep breath and exhale it. And let's take one more. And you might already notice that your body is starting to relax, that you as spirit are starting to sit a little more comfortably in your body. And so I'm going to just provide a visualization for you all to try. So I would like for you to imagine that you are sitting on top of a giant drain, like a giant bathtub drain. And in front of you is a controller. And you can take that controller and turn it to the left, because lefty loosey, and turn it to the left, and it will open up that drain so that anything that you're holding on to, any anxiety, any fear, any worry, any concerns, can start to just drain down that tube, down to the center of the planet. And so I invite you to turn it, and just maybe turn it a little bit, and just take a moment to allow your body to just let go and have whatever it is go down that drain. And if it feels weird sitting on the drain, maybe have it be bigger and you're just kind of hovering above it. And just give your body permission to just allow anything that doesn't belong to you to exit. Now let's turn that knob a little bit more and notice how that feels. Sometimes it feels really good and things are flowing. Sometimes it might feel a little uncomfortable. So at this point, if it feels a little bit uncomfortable, turn it back a little bit. If it feels good, leave it. Maybe take a nice deep breath. And we're going to turn that knob one more time. And I don't necessarily want you to open it all the way up, but let's turn it till it's about 70% of the way open. And again, if that feels uncomfortable to you, you can turn it back and slow down the movement of that energy. And I just want for you to imagine that as things release down that grounding cord, down that drain, that you can now feel the top of your head emerging from like being underwater. And as I keep talking, it just keeps going down, down, and now you can feel the top of your forehead and your eyebrows. And maybe your eyes are starting to emerge from this cloud of confusion. And any anxiety or fear or worry that you might be holding on to, you don't need it right now because you're meditating with Dr. Rita and it's all good. And allow whatever that is to just keep going down. And you really don't need to worry or think about what it is. You're just going to let it go. You're just going to surrender it back to the universe. And it's just moving down your body further and further to your chest, to your abdomen, to your hips, to your thighs, and down to your feet. And just give yourself permission and the opportunity to let go of anything you don't want to be holding on to. And let's take a couple of other deep breaths here. And when you feel ready, go ahead and open your eyes and come back to the room. So I am very curious how your experience of this was. I would love to hear the feedback. And what I'm even more curious is, now that your body has shifted some of the negative energy that it's been holding on to, or the unwanted energy it's been holding on to, how that has shifted the reading you're going to get tonight. And I wish I could do it before or after, but that's not really possible. Anyway, okay. So before I move on and start taking readings, don't forget, if you need a deeper dive into what's going on in your life, reach out to me, Dr. Rita Louise at soulhealer.com, where you can schedule a private consultation with me. This show, Thursday Night Live, is also brought to you by the Institute of Applied Energetics. That's appliedenergeticsinstitute.com, where you can learn to become a medical intuitive counselor, or energy medicine practitioner, all from the comfort of your own home. If you're listening to this show on Rumble or BitChute or Substack, you're welcome to come join the fun. The easiest way is to go to my YouTube channel, which is Just Energy Radio on YouTube. That's Just Energy Radio on YouTube. 7 p.m. Central every Thursday night, and we'll love to see you here. Okay, so let me change screens, and we're gonna get started. Man, I think we got a really good turnout tonight. Yay! Okay, so the first one up is Master Player. All right, so Master Player says, evening number 2, please. Thank you. You sure can. Wow, this is interesting. Okay, so that's the card that came up for you. So Master Player, I am going to bet, just based on this card, that meditation just really helped you. I feel like you had a pretty good shift in your energy. I feel like you came to the show with some unresolved anxiety, and I feel like it is draining from you, and you're feeling calmer, like remarkably calmer. Wonder how that could have happened. So good job, and thank you very much for the validation, without even saying anything out loud. Okay, so Amy says, hi, Dr. Rita. Miss Joe says, hi, Dr. Rita. May I have a reading number 2, please? I hope you've had a great week. I had an interesting week. Not bad. Nothing too awfully crazy happening. Okay, let's see. What's your card for today? And that's your card for today. So Jill, and I'm not sure, well, I'm just going to own this. So I get the impression that you have been challenged with owning your space and you being able to be you in your environment. I feel like you're sensitive. We'll just start there. We're sensitive, and and I feel like it's been a little bit challenging for you to find and hold your space, and for you to be you inside of your body without all of this other static going on. But I feel like you are really conquering that and being able to be you in your body much better for longer periods of time. I'd like to challenge you a little bit because I think you're doing really good. But maybe one of the practices you need to incorporate is, am I in that place of peace? Is it just me in my body? Or am I being affected by what's going on around me? And so a lot of the times, once you just sit there and ask that question, it'll shift the energy and allow you to get back into your space by yourself and kick everybody else out. Okay? Now I'm curious how that will work for you. Okay. And so Amy was like, Facebook work. Okay, so I have to back up. Okay, so Master Player had sent me a message saying that StreamYard was down because it was hit with part of the power outage stuff. And when I went and checked on it, it was up, even though it's obviously being a little bit glitchy. So I made a joke about, no, StreamYard is down, even though I'm communicating in StreamYard, but yeah, anyway. Anyway. All right, so Unar's here. Hi, Unar. And she says, Dr. Rita, may I have a number 3? Thank you. You sure can. Oh, and if you guys enjoyed that meditation, there's a longer version on my webpage, soulhealer.com. And if you type in the word grounding, it'll bring up an article. But there's also a link for an audio version of a longer version of that grounding meditation. And if you want to learn more about how to work with your own energy and manipulate it in that way, that is really some of the material that it gets covered in the Applied Energetics Institute material. Okay, so Unar, that's your card for today. So Unar, I feel like you have decided to put your energy, and the word that I use for it, back in kindergarten. I feel like you are aware or cognizant of people around you struggling, and you've decided that you really don't want to do that. And I feel like you are attacking or addressing life from a more of a play place, from a more light-hearted place. I feel like you just don't want to let the world get you down. So good, cool, very cool. Okay, and now we have Yvonne. Yvonne. One more. If I read, it would work better. Okay. All right, that was 3. All right, and that's your card for today. So Yvonne, I'm feeling like you're ready for your next step. I feel like there are multiple things kind of being presented to you. I feel like you are a little hesitant in moving forward with any of them. Like part of you wants to have a guarantee, like if I do this, it's going to work out good, which I can't really give you. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I should just put a period there. I am feeling like there's some fear and definitely uncertainty in your space, you know, around this whole concept. Mm. And perhaps you just need to let it be and not have something come up, or maybe you need to go do something else for a while so that you're not in that place. You know, like clean your house, you know, like do a deep dig on that. Will, you know, take some time to do so that you can kind of separate, you know, separate out from all of this stuff and make that your priority and your focus so that what's going on in the background has more time to simmer and then readdress it. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so Unar said, and I'm going to respond to this, lots of internet issues today. I hear all over the place. I had tons this morning and afternoon. Schumann resonance. So it's interesting, Unar. It's I kind of on the fringe understand what Schumann resonances are. I don't understand how they can get so messed up so much. I might need to do a deep dive on that and talk about it. There's someone on Facebook that's always posting these charts, and I don't really understand them, but I feel like there's value to it, but I don't really understand it. So maybe I'm going to add that to my list of topics. Okay, so ERRT Radio says, hi, Dr. Rita. Can I get a reading number 3, please? Thank you. You sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. You know, ERRT Radio, you are very interesting because you always are like sitting on this line of like being in alignment to popping out of alignment. And I feel like today you're in alignment. I feel like you've been hitting your Zen and feeling good and feeling positive and, you know, feeling in alignment and in your integrity of where you need to be. And that's it. That's all I got for you. Not anything too juicy. You know, I find it interesting because it seems like that keeps coming up and coming up and coming up. And so I'm hoping that each time I share with you that you're out of alignment, that it's making it easier for you to recognize what you feel like when you're out of alignment so that you can use like, oh, I'm out of alignment, and then use that information to help you get back into alignment. Okay. All right. All right. We have a lot of internet stuff going on here, which I'm not going to read. Amy says, can I have a reading number 2, please? Thank you. You sure can, Amy. And if you know anyone that you think could benefit from coming to the show, I would just love it if you would refer them and have them come and hang out with us and help grow this show. All right, Amy, so that's your card today. It's a little scary, but let's just see. Okay, I'm not liking that. So, Amy, I get the feeling that there was like some little attack that you received. And I feel like you have pulled your energy back and you're almost licking your wounds a little bit. Um, I feel like the whole thing, at least in your mind, was unprovoked and uncalled for. I feel like there's some definite confusion on your part regarding the whole thing. Um, and I feel like you're deciding what you need to do with the relationship. My hope is that this whole situation, doesn't have to do with your kids, because I feel like you're kind of making a long, hard decision like, do I want this person in my life anymore? Because I feel like it was that nasty, just that nasty. So, Amy, I'm just going to send you my love and send you some prayers and healing and hope that this all turns out good, that it turns out good. Joe says, seeing that the program is ready to launch. Good luck, Dr. Rita. Yes, ma'am. Hey, Christine. And she says, hello, may I have a reading number 2, please? You sure can, Christine. Number 2, there's your card for today. So, Christine, I'm feeling like there's some conflict in your space. I feel like your soul wants to go out and play and run around and be free and have fun. And then there's this other part of you that's like, no, you need to go to work today. And no, you need to do laundry. And is really like interfering with your groove. I'm going to say it this way. Your soul is looking for some fun. So maybe you could give to yourself and um, do something fun to just recharge that part of you. And, put all of that other stuff on hold for now. And I don't mean forever. I'm talking about like a day, the weekend. It's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. Take the weekend off and go do something and have fun and recharge that child inside of you that is just looking to smile and play and skip and experience joy. Because I feel like all of that other stuff is not bringing you joy. And I feel like you want to experience some joy. You need to experience some joy. And always, if these readings are making sense to you, please give me some feedback. I always love that. All right, Mr. B and Friends. Hey, Mr. B and Friends, how are you today? And it's Don. And he says, hi, Dr. Rita, could I have a reading number 1? You sure can, Don. So, Don, I'm hoping you were here for that meditation part, because that would just be a good one for you. Okay, and that's your card for today. Whew. So, Don, I guess what I want to say is I feel like, what I'm getting initially was that there's a part of you that wants to cry. I feel like there's some old emotional energy that is wanting to come to the surface. I feel like a little bit of it has already, leaving you feel a bit uncomfortable. And I just want to give you a heads up. It is wanting to work itself out of your body. And that's a good thing. That's a very healing thing. And so don't stop it. And don't get mad at yourself if for a couple of days you kind of feel like crap and you're kind of bitchy and whatever, as you're sitting there releasing this old toxic energy that's inside of your body. And if you need to cry, cry. It's okay. You know, it is just part of the process of healing, and allow it to happen. Don't try to shove it down. You know, don't try to mask it with something else. Just allow it to come up, however uncomfortable or awkward it might want to, and let it come out of you, because you will be a better person on the other side of it. Okay. Master Player says, Rita was trolling us. I was. And then Angel Cake Moves. Hi, Angel Cake Moves. Finally a Thursday that I'm listening in. I usually see you on Awake Nation. Well, welcome, Angel Cake Moves. And I appreciate you seeing me on Awake Nation. And I'm so glad that you're here. But see, I'm really pretty much the same as I am there. Really. Okay, so you didn't ask for a number, and I'm looking at the list. So Angel Cake Moves, I am just going to pull a number for you, and I'm going to do a number 2 for you and give you a reading. But usually, since you're a new person, I cut you some slack. Usually people pick a number from 1 to 3, and that's how many times I shuffle the cards before I draw one. So I'm giving you a 2. Okay. And that's your card for today. So Angel Cake Moves, I feel like you are on a mission from God. I feel like you have this, I'm going to say destination in mind, but that's really not the right word. This goal, this thing you want to do or achieve, that you are pretty, no, I wanted to say laser focused, but that's not the right word either. You are determined. That's a much better word. That you are determined to achieve. I feel like you know that this thing is what you need to do and where you need to go. And I feel like people might be throwing slings and arrows and frozen water bottles at you. But you are just going to keep moving to get to the destination in an unwavering way. So whatever it is you got going on, cool. Very cool. And there's Jeannie. Jeannie, hey girl, how are you? All right. ERRT Radio says, I'm watching you, Dr. Rita. Okay, well, I'm watching me too. And then Unar says, Icelanders like to have a picnic near the lava. I should know, my mom is Icelandic. Oh, huh. Hey, it's Lexi. Hey, Lexi. Had court today. Feel ambushed. Huh. We'll have to talk after. I'm going to pick a card for you because you need one. So, Lexi, I'm going to give you a number 1. And that's your card for today. So, Lexi, you might feel ambushed, but what came up right away was karma's a bitch. And regardless of what all happened there, it is all going to turn around on its heels and go back to the way it was, because it's going to go back. I feel like your kids will feel like they were lied to, and they aren't going to want to participate. in the whole deal. And I feel like there are certain unnamed individuals who will suffer the consequences of the manipulation. And you know who I'm talking about. Okay. Ohura. Hey, Ohura. All right. ERRT Radio says, on a side note, with all these protests, no pride parades, no one is even talking about Pride Month. This is funny. Okay, Ohura says, hello, Dr. Rita. Good to have time with you. The plane crashes catch my attention too. It is bizarre time. Thank you for talking about it. Ignorance is the current pandemic. May I have a reading, please? Number one. You sure can. Well, there are people that suggest that all of this, that there is a nefarious plan going on in the background of all of this. And on some of it, I can totally see. Other parts of it, it just doesn't make sense to me in a, in a big picture way. Like, why would you want to sit there and block off the sun if you live on this planet? And if blocking off the sun means all the plants die? I mean, that doesn't even make any sense. Okay, Ohura, that's your card for today. So, Ohura, I get the impression that there is, and the word I'm going to use is conflict around you. There's crap going on around you. And I don't mean in the world, but more personally around you. And I feel like you are using every bit of your energy to stay neutral to it, to not get sucked into it, even though you've been sort of successful. I feel like there's been points that you've been sucked in. I am going to laugh because I feel like periodically through this period, you hear my voice in your head. Sorry. But I feel like it has been helping you to like recenter, refocus, reground. I feel like if I had to pick the percentage of your success, I am going to say that for the most part, as a general average, you're being successful about 70% of the time, even if it doesn't feel like that to you. But you really are doing a pretty good job considering all the happening in your world. Don says, Dr. Rita, there has been more than should be airlines and small plane class crashing. As a pilot, I think it's more off not doing your walk-arounds and proper procedures and planning. Well, and I agree with you. I don't think there's some, people are planting bombs on these planes, but, I was going to talk about integrity tonight. That was going to be my topic. And if that's something you guys want me to talk about, put notes down below. But I was really irritated because integrity is in pretty much short supply. And doing something like doing your walk around and checking things and, going through your checklist. So I was married to a guy who was a aircraft mechanic and he worked on small planes in a very small shop. And so, I would see those checklists, and he was OC. So he really went over the checklist. But that they're just not doing their job. And when you don't do your job, it's an integrity issue. Ooh, we have another new person. We have great Mugali. So I maybe am even saying that right. Hi, great Mugali. Glad to see you here. I'm looking at the time. If you put in a number from 1 to 3, that's how many times I'll shuffle, and I'll give you a free on-air reading, but you got to be really fast. Oh, it's somebody that knows ERRT radio. Cool. And then Don said, Dr. Rita, you know that we as people really have no control if nations get all up on using nuclear weapons. It's like if you have an army, you want to use them. No, I hear what you're saying. Hey, Antone, nice to see you here. Hey, Gary. He was wondering if I could get a reading. Let's see. I don't know. Should I do a reading, Gary, of whether you should get a reading or not? He was being funny. Number 2 coming up. All right, and that's your card for today. So, Gary, I get the feeling that you are feeling a little bit, and I'm going to say at a loss. I feel like you feel that there is something you're supposed to be doing, but you don't know what that something is, and so you're not. I feel like it's a little bit bothering you. So maybe, fill a bit of that idle time with just very mundane things and take your mind off of this bigger picture that you're trying to solve and just do smaller things that are going on in your world. Do some gardening, do some cleaning, meditate, whatever, to keep you busy, but not sitting there thinking about what you should be doing and you don't really know, because that's not helping spirit to be able to move through you and bring you that message. When the message is ready, you will get the message. Okay. And it's James Arthur Yanchek, the Dark Knight of Talk Radio. Hey, James, nice seeing you. Safe driving. Marco, it's almost time to go and you're just getting here. Hi, Marco. Love you. All right, and then Angel Cake Move. Maybe I shouldn't have closed my eyes while I was driving. Yeah, that isn't such a good idea. Not a good idea. Marco says, Rita, you look hot. Thank you. All right, so Joe says, I hear you. Breathe in, breathe out. For me, when a mental break is needed, music in, world off, it works quite well. Excellent. When we know what works for us, it really helps. But a lot of times people don't know, like, the primary thing that they need to do to kind of bring them back in. My new thing is going and mow the lawn. Like, if I have energy I need to burn off because I'm upset about something, it's like, I'm going to go mow the lawn. Now, that is really scary. All right, Don says, this felt great. I think I have one thing here all people should be doing. Yes, sir. And the Master Player says, thank you, Rita, and great hair. Thank you, Master Player. Okay, and ERRT Radio says, I hope everyone is safe in your local area. O'Hora says, thanks a lot for the reading, and thank you very much for the meditation. That was helpful. I feel lighter and more relaxed. Blessings and cheer to you. You are so welcome, O'Hora. Antone wants number 3. You sure can. Okay, and that's your card for today. So, Antone, I'm just looking at your energy in this moment, and I'm feeling like you are feeling very grounded and very centered. Um, when I go back in time, I feel like you were kind of like out there somewhere, not like it really wasn't working for you. Um, but it's working now. Okay, so this is just to everyone. When your energy is clear and when it's moving and flowing and you are in the present moment, there's really not a whole lot to read. What is easier to read or to provide more feedback is if there's conflict. And then based on where you're out of alignment and where you're out of that flow and out of the present moment, that's usually where the commentary comes from. But when you have energy, kind of like Antone's, it's just like, not a whole lot to comment on. So whatever you did, good job. All right, let's see. Joe says, your reading makes great sense. Thank you. Sure thing. Gary says, they say you can breathe in and blow the air out and hold your lips tightly when blowing out your air for stress too. I haven't ever heard that one, but it's possible. I mean, there are so many different kinds of breathing exercises and breathing techniques that it wouldn't surprise me. Okay, Unar says, my reading was fabulous. I can feel it very much. Thank you for the lovely meditation and link to. I find it helps greatly. You are so welcome. Yvonne says, thanks, Dr. Rita. You're so welcome. ERRT Radio says, whew, glad for that. And then Ricky says, all right, Ricky, you're my last one. Hello, Dr. Rita. Happy Thursday. You look so amazingly fabulous tonight. May I have a number 2, please? See, you're just getting it because you said that I look fabulous. Okay, number 2. And so if there's anybody after Ricky, and there's quite a big list down here, then you just have to come earlier because I'm about to check out. Okay, and that's your card today, Ricky. Okay, so you must have not been here for the beginning of the show. When I look at your energy, I feel like and this is me just saying this out loud, that there's somebody that you want to smack. I feel like there's some irritation in your space about things that have happened around you. If I was to guess, I would say it has to do with one person who is kind of driving you crazy. I just got, they don't listen. And you just want to smack them, but you haven't. So that's good. You've practiced restraint. This too shall pass. How's that? All right, guys. So I am just going to scroll real fast, but I'm going to check out here real quick. Christine says, yes, thank you. I've been dying to experience some joy, and I want to just have fun. Thanks for your reading. You sure can. Hey, Anthony, and he's here, I swear, except you're going to have to come back earlier next week, Tony. I swear. And then Angel Cake says, not sure, but maybe I'm supposed to drive right now since I parked my car. Oops. Sorry. Okay, so let's see. So Angel Cake says, wow, Dr. Rita, thank you for the reading. I was reading what the numbers meant and glad God is with me in starting new business ventures. Grateful for that confirmation. You're so welcome. Amy says, reading was accurate. Really thought it was the sucky level up test. No, you're past the sucky level up test, Amy. You're just now to the place where it's like, I'm not wanting to deal with this crap. And Angel Cake's car started. Yay. All right. I need to go. Wait a minute. And it's John Kassler. Hey, John Kassler, but you should have come earlier, but because I'm going to go now and we need to talk. I mean, not about anything important. All right. And Ray True Colors 3. Hi, Ray True Colors 3. We start at 7 p.m. Central, so I'm just going to check. Wow, we got all kinds of people. Red the Red 039, another new face. Hi, welcome to the show, but I'm going to go now. All right. Jeannie says, love the meditation, your shows. You're the best energy. Thank you, Jeannie. Love you too. Anyway, guys, you know, if anything came up that you would like to dive a little deeper into, or you wanted, you know, if you need to get some insights, reach out to me, soulhealer.com. I mean, this is just a one card, simple reading, and a private consultation goes so much deeper. And I'll answer your specific questions. We don't do card readings during private consultations. And again, this show is brought to you by the Institute of Applied Energetics. That's appliedenergeticsinstitute.com, where you can learn to become a medical intuitive counselor, or certified energy medicine practitioner. So guys, till next week, I love you all. I'm Dr. Rita Louise. This is Thursday Night Live. Be blessed.